Hey guys, welcome. This is Jessica Riverson here, and I'm super excited because we are bringing you a very special masterclass today with Danielle Hawthorne, one of our Academy members. I'm going to go ahead and introduce her in a few moments. I'll let you guys hop on here, give a couple minutes to have everybody hop on. So real quick, I'm going to tell you who I am, give you a couple updates for the community, and then we'll introduce Danielle. We've got a really great class for you today. So if you don't know me, my name is Jessica Riverson. Welcome to the Permission to Charge Coaches community. If you're new, hey, Angela Brown. She's not new. She's a favorite. All right, so welcome if you are brand new to this community. My company is called Permission to Charge, and my husband and I have the Permission to Charge Academy and the Expansion Mastermind. What I'm really passionate about is helping coaches who are so passionate about helping other people that it stands in their way of charging their worth. So I love helping coaches create their signature programs, build out their funnels, and really get their message out there and be able to charge their worth. Hey, Amber. Awesome. So a lot of my students are hopping on here. Okay, real quick, I want to tell you guys a story about, actually I have one announcement, and then I'm going to tell you a quick story that will segue perfect into what Danielle has to share. Hey, Ebony. So I knew this was going to be popular. Let me go ahead and split the screen here. So this is Danielle, you guys. We're going to bring her on in just a second. So let me just give you a couple quick announcements. I see a lot of people are hopping on, and then we'll bring Danielle back on here. So quick announcement, Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific, that's my regular live stream time. I will be doing part 2 of what you should not focus on if you want to grow your coaching business. So this will be an interesting masterclass because one of the things I talk about is your brand and your logo and your website and all this stuff. But we are going to actually show you when and why you should focus on your brand and your logo and all that good stuff. So we're going to kind of demystify some things from what I said last Friday with this branding masterclass. But then this Friday, I will go into a few more of the things that you should not be focusing on. So stay tuned for that. Mark your calendar. And all right, so let me tell you a quick story about my brand that I think will really make Danielle's training even more powerful for you guys. So first of all, while I'm telling this story, go ahead and just comment in the chat box what you do and who you do it for. Hey, Monica. This way, Danielle can start to know who's here, who's listening, and she can kind of, tailor her message as we go along as to, who you are and what you do. And if you have any branding challenges, go ahead and post it in the chat. If there's questions for her, I'm sure she's going to incorporate things into the talk, but just go ahead and share about yourself and about your brand. All right, so real quick story. Some of you guys know that my first brand was the Soulful Solopreneur. Hey, Susan Fields. So nobody really understood what that meant, right? And so they thought it sounded cool, but they couldn't spell it and they couldn't say it because it's kind of a tongue twister. And in my mind, can you see the comments, Danielle, that people are posting?
Yeah, I can see them.
They're telling you what they do and all that good stuff. So people didn't understand what I did. In my mind, I wanted to work with soulful entrepreneurs who are, running a business based on their passions and their spiritual gifts, and I wanted to help them grow their business. I hadn't focused on coaches yet. I was just focusing on women entrepreneurs who were service-based. So for the first year, I made $7,000. For the second year, I made $15,000. And I was quite devastated. If you can relate, let me know. You don't have to admit anything, but just say, yeah, I can relate. So I was really devastated by that. I already had a successful business, so I was just really frustrated why I was not, being successful in my coaching business. And here's the other thing is I spent a long time, Danielle, on my brand. I spent 2 years fiddling around with my logo and all this other stuff. It wasn't nearly as gorgeous as the stuff that you create. And it was just I just was going around and around and around on my tagline and my message and all these things. So here's what changed. This is why I'm so glad that Danielle's here today, is I got clear on my message. So I hired a coach, right? I invested. I was like, look, this isn't working. So I invested to work with someone, and we worked on my message. And my message really came from my ideal clients, like their words and language. That a member of the audience, when I was speaking, she shouted, "Permission to charge." And, like, that's where I got the phrase. It was this one woman, her name was Carrie. I must owe her something by now. I can't remember her last name, Carrie, but she lives here in the Bellevue area, the Seattle Bellevue area. Anyway, so I ran home, got the domain name, and I told my coach, she's like, that's it. That's your message. That's your hook. Well, here's the cool story is as soon as I clarified the message, which is part of branding, I went to, some networking events the next week, and I immediately got 2 people wanting to talk to me saying, I need to work with you. So after I got that more clarity on the messaging, that's when that was part of the branding process, right? It was like, okay, so this is the message. This is what's going to actually relate to people. Now let's put the brand together around it. And Danielle does both. That's part of it. You don't want to hire someone to brand you when they're just like, oh, what colors do you want? What logos do you want? Right? It's not just that. So long story short is at the end of that second year, I looked at my accounting program and it said I made $15,000, so devastated. I changed my message right around that time. I started honing the message and I started the rebranding, right? With the new hook, and I eventually got a whole new photo shoot website and everything. But within the first 6 weeks of that next year, I had already sold $22,000 in coaching sales. So even in the first 6 weeks of the next year, I'd already done more than what I did the entire whole year before. And it was because of my message and my brand. So that's why I want to bring on Danielle. She's got a powerful message for you guys. Let me officially introduce her. So this is Danielle Hawthorne. And she is a brand visibility and video coach for online coaches. That's all of you guys that are here. So if you're a coach, healer, service provider, like you're in this group, this is perfect for you. She has traveled the country interviewing people like Scarlett Johansson, Mark Wahlberg. Yes, she's on TV, you guys. She's covered red carpets. She's the face and personality of Studio Movie Grill. She knows what it takes to be authentically yourself on video and build your personal brand and get yourself out there in a way that attracts people. So she's all about showing up as your authentic self, getting visible, drawing people to you. And I love her tagline, being confident, crazy authentic, and creatively you. I love that. So welcome.
Thanks, guys, for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just put, I wanted to do this. I'm going to put the spotlight totally on you. And I'll let you take it away and just dive into this training you prepared.
Cool. So just kind of talking a little bit about what Jessica said earlier is that branding is not just colors and it's not just font, and it's so much more than that. And before you even get to the visual part of your brand, you really need to dig deep and figure out who you are, who you serve, and what you have to offer. And then, of course, your messaging, because like Jessica said, your messaging is so, so important. So today, I just kind of wanted to dive in with you a little bit and talk about how to do that. So why branding? Again, branding is so important because it's the emotional connection that people make to you and your business. And people don't buy colors, they don't buy logos, they buy because of that emotional connection. So something a quote I absolutely love from Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, which I think if you're alive right now, you know what Amazon.com is. He always says, your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And that is so true. It's what people walk away with. It's what people remember whenever it's not in front of their face. It's the way that people feel about your brand whenever you're not around. And that comes from the underlying work that you do. It doesn't come from just the tangible aspects of a brand. So something, kind of an example I like to give is Nordstrom's versus Nordstrom Rack. Yes, they're the same umbrella company, but the experience is completely different. And I have an experience where one day I was looking for a pair of shoes because I love shoes. I mean, who doesn't love shoes? And I went into Nordstrom Rack.
You love shoes.
Right? Comment below if you love shoes, because I absolutely love shoes. So one day I was looking for a shoe, and I like a good deal. I mean, I do. So I went to Nordstrom Rack. It's also closer to my house. And I was looking around, and when I walked in, it was chaos. It was just people everywhere. It was crowded. It was, oh my gosh, it was frantic in there. And I saw a pair of Kate Spades that I really liked. I'm a Kate Spade fan. And I just thought, you know what? I love it, Angela. I feel so like, I was like, I can't stay in here. Like, even though that shoe right there is calling my name, I got to get out of here because I feel, this is just it's not a good experience for me right now. And so I left and I headed over to Nordstrom's, and I walked in and it was clean and it was calm, and I walked right over to the shoe department. Everybody was helpful. They were friendly. And emotionally, I felt secure. I felt safe. I felt invited. I felt, welcomed. And granted, I paid more for my pair of Kate Spades. I paid probably double what I would have paid at Nordstrom Rack. I went through the experience and I bought a pair of shoes because I felt really good about it. And the emotional connection when I walked through the door, I mean, that's exactly how I felt. And it encouraged me to stay and to get the shoes that I wanted. And that's kind of what it means to bring your brand to life. Like, how do people feel when they engage with you? Do they feel like overwhelmed or confused about what exactly it is you're offering? Or do you have it all laid out for them? Is it a peaceful, easy, warm, inviting experience and connection that they make with you? So without a brand, what happens if you don't have a brand in place? And you'll lose clients to competitors because people aren't clear on what it is that you do or what you have to offer. You'll struggle to be seen and be heard. And this is a big thing for me. Getting visible that's what I do. That's what I help people with through their brand and through video. Well, without that brand, without that brand position, you can't get visible because people aren't going to understand what you're providing, and they're just going to keep looking. They're just going to pass over you. So that's another thing. Potential clients won't connect with you. If you're not clear and you aren't focused, then how are people going to connect to you and your brand? Emotionally, that they just won't be able to do that. So
Can I say something about that?
Absolutely. Please dive in, jump in.
So I got her permission to interject real quick. So here's one. A lot of you guys are in Facebook groups. You do your own videos, live streams. You have your own Facebook groups. Sometimes what I see is, I don't know, tell me if this is a good example, Danielle, but it's like you're saying that people come across in a way that's like, it's confusing to others. Like they don't get it. So if you're spending all your time posting in groups, and I see people do this where they'll just post, like they'll share something in my group without any context, any storyline. Mm-hmm. Like they just randomly share something that they posted, and they don't say, hey guys, I thought of you in this group because you're all coaches, and wow, this article really spoke to me. Like there's no personality, there's you, the person is not in what, like you watch them on social media and it's like the person is missing. Or I can also tell when people are taking Facebook courses where they're learning how to post on Facebook. So they'll put, and I'm not saying it's bad, but they'll put something like, who do you love better, cats or dogs? You might get a lot of comments and like, that's fine. But like, I haven't learned anything about you or your story or message. So I just had to interject that. Like, that's something that speaks to what you're saying. It's like, if you're showing up online, you're telling a story.
Yeah.
What story are you telling?
No, absolutely. That's 100% true. Like, what message are you trying to get to people? Because if you do show up on Facebook and you're like, do you like cats or dogs? Well, what exactly does cats or dogs have to do with you and who you are? It might be fun if you've already built this brand loyalty and you've already, you have a tribe of people who get you and who know who you are. But if you're just showing up periodically like that, you're not going to build momentum for your business. And you're sure not going to build a loyal tribe around you because they're not going to know why they should be loyal. So I'm going to dive into How to get started when creating your brand. So the foundational part of building a brand is super important. Before you can even dive in, before you even need to think about colors and logos and all of those things, you need to figure out like who you are as a business. And here's some things that will help you do that. You can ask yourself, like, what would you do even if no one ever paid you? Like, what would you do just purely because you love it? What are you so passionate about? You know, why do you help people? Where does that passion come from? Because when you connect to that passion and that bigger why, that is going to be felt. So that is the number one thing I always tell people when they're thinking about building a brand. What is it that you do because you can't think of not doing it? Like you can't even dream of not doing it in your life. So after that, like, who do you serve? Who do you want to serve? What does a day in your dream life look like? Like, what type of business do you want to have? Do you absolutely love the idea of doing one-on-ones with people all day long? Or do you want to be speaking? Do you want to travel the country and speak to people? What does your dream life look like? Because when building a brand, you don't want to think about just the immediate future. You don't want to think about, okay, what can I do right this very second to actually get people? You want to dream bigger because you don't want to build a brand and then have to redo it in a year and then have to do it in a year again after that. Like, think big here. How do you want people to see you? Next thing is, what do you want to be known for? And this is not just like, oh, I have this one product. It's everything. Like, what qualities do you want to be known for? Are you this really sarcastic, really fun-loving, like bubbly person? And you want people to know that when they come to you, like, you have no filter. You're just going to be all the way 100% all the time. I mean, somebody that I really love is Kat Lorenzo. How many people, drop a comment below if you know who Kat Lorenzo is. Like, she is like 90 to nothing all the time. She is, you know, no filter. She's really hardcore, but she has this huge loyal following, and she's built up multiple 7-figure businesses because people know that when they come to her, she's going to be honest, she's going to be authentic, and she's going to be in your face about getting stuff done. Right? And
yeah,
so
got that specific personality that always shows through in her posts.
Yes, absolutely. And it's very clear, it's very concise. And that's what she wants people to be known for. She wants to be the no bullshit. Yeah, see, you've heard of Kat. Like, she wants to be the there's no time for bullshit here. This is how it is. And that's the kind of coach she is. And there are people who really resonate with that. Another thing is skills, services, and products. Those are also things you can think about. Like, do you want to be known for, like Jessica, your tagline, like permission to charge? That is why people really resonate with you and your brand. Like, they see that, they hear that, they're like, yes, I want to charge more. I really want people to value me for what I offer and for my services. And so people connect with that. Just like the story you're saying, whenever you changed your branding, your business completely changed.
Yeah, I finally had a hook.
Yeah, you have that hook, and people really get with that and resonate with that. And then again, goes back to, I can't harp on this enough. What are you passionate about? Because if you aren't passionate about what you're offering and about what you're doing, then people are they're gonna get that really quickly. And Jessica, I don't know if you have anything to add to that, but having that passion and that drive behind your business at the core foundation of who you are as a business is super important.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you could end up building a brand that you're not in alignment with. I think more often than not is a lot of online coaches think that they've, let me just come on here a little bit. A lot of online coaches think that they've built a brand because they've started using Canva and they've made some memes and like they've got some colors. And that's, I mean, look, it's nice to have people associate you with a color. I mean, that could be a very bare bones, no budget way to sort of start to put it together. But really what Danielle's talking about is who you are and what that quote that you start out with, what people say about you when you're not in the room. If you don't have a clear, okay, this is a good story. So if people are just saying, wow, she's awesome, she's inspirational, they're not going to buy. It's got to go deeper than that. You can't just be inspirational and yeah. Like you have to, or rah, like you have to have that message, have that hook, have something that people think of you when you're not there. They think of the qualities and the mission, like what you just said about Kat. It's like, boom, yeah. If you've seen her before, you know her, you're like, oh my God, that's so her. And it's like those of us that know who she is, we can think of that. You know, we can relate to that. So if they're not coming up with a feeling or an image or something about you, and it's probably not what you think. Like you might think that you're doing it, and in reality, you're probably not. I mean, it's just, I hate to say that. It sounds so negative, but.
And the best way to test that is if you feel like you have built that up, but you're not really seeing momentum with your business or your brand, ask people. Literally go out into the groups that you're in, send a survey if you don't want to ask directly. I mean, do something, go out and ask the people that you are engaged with, ask them how they feel about your brand, ask them, you know, what they take away from it. Straight up ask them, what do you think I do? Like, what do you think I'm offering you? And
here's another way is if you're not getting any referrals,
yeah,
then people don't understand what you do.
Yeah. Because
that's actually when I changed my message and then started the rebranding process. Remember how I said, change my message, then started, it was part of it, but that was like step one. Mm-hmm. I didn't do the website and then figure out my message. I had to like figure out my message and it's not all about redoing your website, honestly, because that took me 4 months. What Danielle does with people, it's not about redoing your whole website. It's about clarifying that message. Yes, there's some, colors and logos and stuff involved, but like literally anything that you're already trying to do to get clients, like whether it's being visible through video, Facebook groups, whatever else you're doing social media wise. For me at the time, I was speaking primarily. So as I mentioned, literally the next week, I saw a change. I went out into the marketplace again, but with a new message and new clarity and that hook, and immediately people were interested. And I got a referral, like within a week or so, I got a referral from another coach. And I called him up, we were friends. I told him about my new messaging. And like a week later, he had a referral. And I know it's because he now better understood what the heck I was doing. Mm-hmm. When you're not getting referrals, that's a sign. Yeah.
And a little exercise you can do too. I'll talk about mission and vision in a minute, but a little exercise you can do that's very quick that will help you like cut through it and just get to the base of this is what I do and this is what I have to offer is write down I am, write down I, like what you do, write down I solve, and then I help and fill that out. So again, it's I am, who you are, and your brand, like what your brand is, I, the what you do, I solve the problem that you solve for people, and I help the people that you help, and then put it all together. So for me, I could do something like, I am Danielle Hawthorne of the Confidence Collective Co. I help female coaches get visible in their business by helping them create badass branding and videos that convert. Like it could be something like that. Very clear, concise, crisp, to the point. And start sharing that with people. Start putting that out there and see how it changes. And granted, like
I help. What was the other one?
I am, so who you are, your brand. I, what you do. I solve, the name of the problem that you solve. And then I help, who you help. And then put that all together. And your tagline can be different from this. Like this could be like your little mini elevator pitch. Your tagline can absolutely be different from that. But this is just a really good exercise to help you cut through the fluff and just focus on like, this is exactly what my brand is and what it offers and who I help.
Love it.
Yeah. So something too to help you. I know that we're trying to keep this, we're not trying to go too long here, but another thing that can really help you differentiate yourself and get focused on who you are and what you offer and very clear on what makes you different is your brand mission and your brand purpose. So for your brand mission is basically your mission statement is something that it's a statement that reflects who your business is, the purpose behind it, the identity, the values behind your business. It describes basically what your business does. So who you are, kind of what you do. One mission statement that I love is from Patagonia. Build the best product, cause no unnecessary harm, use business to inspire, and implement solutions to the environmental crisis. Patagonia sells outside gear. I mean, they sell clothes, they sell equipment, but their mission statement is it's not just about clothes. It's to inspire. It's the emotional connection for them. It's why they do what they do, and who they are, like who they are behind the clothes. And then your vision or your purpose statement is why and how. So why you're doing what you're doing, like, and how you exist, what you stand for, basically. I love ocean conservation. So the example that I chose for this is from Oceana. Oceana seeks to make our oceans rich, healthy, and abundant as they once were. That's very clear. Like, they are a nonprofit group that exists to help better the oceans. It's very cut, clear, and dry, and you can't really confuse that at all. So whenever you're thinking about building your brand, like, think about that. What is your mission with your business? What is your big vision? What are you trying to do here? How are you trying to help people? Who do you want to help? Why do you want to help them? And what impact do you hope to have on the world? These are bigger questions that people sometimes don't think of whenever they think of branding, because when we think of branding, we think of logos and colors and things like that. But this directly influences the tone of your brand, and the tone then influences the color. And yeah, see, Angela, I can't read the rest of it, but I'm going to go back and read it afterwards. There you go. Yeah, start sharing it. Like, share your brand mission, because that's what makes you you. It's what makes your business so uniquely and authentically you, because no one else has that same mission. Somebody else might have a similar business or a similar model, but no one else is doing what you're doing, why you're doing it.
Yes.
Yeah. And so all of that also directly influences your brand tone, and that influences your connection, your emotional connection with people. So what do I mean by your brand tone is, how does your brand like sound? How does it feel? How does it emotionally connect with people? So again, going back to Kat, because she's just like such a great example. Whenever people connect with her, they know exactly who she is and how she is. Her brand tone is very clear. It's very in your face. It's very loud. It's very strong. It's very powerful. It's very unapologetically her. And if you don't know how to start this, if you don't know how to figure out your brand tone, like if you're thinking, I don't know how I come across, I don't know how I sound or how I want my brand to speak, then there are a couple things that you can do. So one thing you can do is you can literally talk about your brand. Grab a recorder, grab your cell phone, and hit record and start talking about your business. Talk about why you do it. Talk about, how you're doing it. Talk about who you want to serve, and record yourself for like 15 to 20 minutes. And then go back and listen to how you say it. How do you sound? Are you very serious? Are you very sincere? Are you bubbly? Are you having fun with it? Like, are you just all over the place? Like, how do you sound when it comes to your own business? And what words are you using when you talk about your business? That's a really great way to figure out what the tone of your business is going to sound like. Another thing is go online and find potential clients. Go see how they're talking about it. Do a survey. Like we were talking about earlier, reaching out to people about how they feel about your business or your current business. Also reach out to potential clients and say, hey, I've got this survey. Like, would you mind filling it out? And see how they talk about the problems they're having. See the words they use, the emotional connection they're making to the issues that they're currently experiencing. And then take that and infuse it with your brand, infuse it with how you're talking, so you can find that tone that still connects with your potential clients, but also is so authentically you and so original to you that it's like you're just having a conversation. Your brand is a conversation that you're having with people who need you. So those are two really great ways to figure out your brand tone. And then once you figure that out, you can come up with a couple of keywords. So then whenever you do get ready to actually create the physical brand or the visual brand, you have these keywords that completely describe you and the way that you communicate. So when you start putting that into visual terms, it connects. So you don't have this like weird disconnect between, oh, this beautiful, pretty brand, but I don't sound the way I look. I do
because I've seen so many situations like that where it's like everyone's just kind of trying to look the same, like everyone's using like the same kind of fonts now and same kind of colors, and they're just a lot of cookie cutter brands, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you know, I have down here a couple of signs like of why you should rebrand. And one of them is just that, you know, a lot of times I see people who have gone out and seen other brands that are really pretty or look really cool and they've got great followings and they think, oh, I want that to be my brand. That's exactly what I want. But they get there and people aren't connecting because it's not true to who they are. They went out and found kind of something that looked really cool and looked really pretty and was working for somebody else, but it's not working for them because it didn't connect to who they are. So it's important to not just focus on like what somebody else is doing, but really connect with what you want to do and how you want to look and how you want to be perceived in your brand. Because people will notice that disconnect. Like if things aren't matching up, if you just go out and kind of say,
they'll notice if you're copying someone else who's super big too.
Yeah, they'll absolutely notice. This is the online world is a big world, but it's also a very small world. Mm-hmm. So if you go out and you start kind of copying or imitating, even if it is just because, even if it comes from a good place, like you're saying, this looks really good, this really resonates with me, or I really like it, people are they're gonna catch on to that. They're not gonna connect with you. It's gonna remind them of somebody else's brand, which is not what you want at all. When people see your stuff, you want them to know this is you, this is your business. You don't want them to connect it to somebody else's.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see here. I know you were going to talk about brand identity and some of the signs of how to know when to do your brand or do a rebrand. And I know you have a special gift, an opportunity as well to share. So yeah, I think we're still good on time too. So are you guys loving this? Go ahead and let us know your takeaways and I'll let Danielle kind of roll into the next portion here.
Awesome. Just wanted to make sure we're good on time. So if we're good on time,
we're good.
Okay. So creating your brand identity. And if there's something you want to hear about when it comes to branding, like drop a comment below and I'll touch on it today. If there's something specifically you've been thinking about or, you know, you had questions about, let me know and I'll talk about it. Okay. So creating your brand identity. This is actually when you get into the visual part of your brand. But if you haven't done all of the work beforehand, don't jump into this. I can't stress that enough. Like, I know that Jessica mentioned this earlier. She spent 2 years working on a logo. That is so common. People focus on, or business owners, coaches focus on getting a logo or getting their color palette together and then have to redo it sooner rather than later because it's, you know, it wasn't connected to all of the back end work. So don't get to this until you've done all of the footwork and you've laid down the foundation for it. But your brand identity, your visual brand identity is color palette. Oh, awesome. Color palette, your font, your logo, and your design elements, whether you have a pattern or, you know, I always say like pick 2 patterns to go with your business, or if you want to stick to solids, just pick some visual representation, that you can use over and over again with your brand. Oh yeah, I love that, Angela. It's so true though. Like your brand it's a conversation you're having with people. I love it. So one thing that you can do is I had some things written down. I actually don't know what I did with them. To be honest with you, I put them somewhere. You can PM me if you want them, but there are sites you can go to when you're choosing your color palette that you can go to and it'll actually help you generate color palettes. So like say you have this one color you really feel represents your brand. You can plug that color in and then it'll start generating the rest for you. And PM me if you want that and I will give all of those sites to you. I thought I had them here, but they're somewhere.
You can post them later in the comments if you want.
I'll post them. That's what I'll do. I'll post them later in the comments. So to give you guys a tool where you can go through and look at that. But going back to those tonal words that you came up with whenever you're thinking of your brand tone, that's what you should focus on whenever you're thinking about color, is your tone. You know, say you want this really like bright, your tone is very bubbly and bright and like energetic and vibrant. Say that's what you want your business to be. Well, you're not going to do a dark purple with like a deep blue, you know, those aren't the colors you're going to go with. You're going to go with something bright, like a bright pink or a bright orange, or even if it's a bright green. These are the things that you need to think of. Yeah, even when you, these are the things you need to start thinking of whenever you think of your colors. Like, don't just go for, oh, this is a really pretty color palette, this is how I feel, because color affects emotion big time. And you can actually go through, if you type in, like, I think it's like colorpsychology.org, you can actually go to, and it'll tell you the psychology behind each color and how it affects people and the way they feel and the way they interact with brands. There's an entire psychological impact that people have. Like, they say usually like healers use greens and blues, and sports drinks focus on reds and things like that because it's vibrant and energetic. So check that out whenever you're looking at your colors to make sure that your brand actually has the right representation, the right feeling when you get into it. Then your fonts are kind of the same way. And fonts are a little more difficult because there are so many out there. And to be honest with you, whenever I talk to branding clients about fonts, I tell them go to Pinterest. Look at Pinterest, look at all the different fonts that are out there, and find 2 or 3 that represent you and that feel good to you. Because you also want to think of, whenever you think of fonts, you want to make sure it's clear. So it's legible. So whenever you do creative and things like that, it's legible. But do you want it to be cursive? Do you want it to be bold? Do you want it to be very feminine? Do you want it to be masculine? And these things are actually the easier parts. To me, it's the easier part of branding because it's the fun part. It's the easier part. It's, you know, it's not as in depth as the foundational pieces of building a brand. And then your logo and your submark, once you figure out your colors and your fonts, I suggest using somebody to design it for you. But there are also, I mean, you can do logo generators. You can do quick things like that if you want something, even if you want something in the meantime, like a placeholder until you do invest in getting a good logo. But I actually do recommend investing in having that original one-of-a-kind logo for yourself once you and your business are ready. So those are the visual, more visible aspects of your brand. And now I will get into why you should rebrand or when you should rebrand.
Yeah, we got 7 signs for you guys.
Yeah, 7 signs that you should rebrand. So 1, if your sales are decreasing or they've kind of plateaued, you've kind of hit this point where you're not seeing momentum, you're not seeing growth in your business, then I would suggest like thinking again of your messaging and your branding, the emotional connection you're making with people.
Yeah, like if you're doing all these things and not getting results, you guys, it's going to go back to your message and your brand. Mm-hmm. That's the problem.
Yeah. 2, you're getting lots of traffic but no conversions. Then it means something's got to change. Something needs to be reworked. And a lot of these, honestly, it all goes back to messaging. Like, messaging is part of your brand. I truly believe that your brand is a conversation that you're having with somebody, and you need to change the conversation if it's not working for you. You've changed direction in your business. So if you've changed direction, you can't keep your old stuff. You've got to rebrand, and you need to start over and create a new message for the new direction. You're attracting the wrong kind of people. So this goes a lot with what you teach, Jessica, and permission to charge. If you are playing small, and if you are, say you did all your branding by yourself and you're not a designer, you just put something out there in the world and you're not attracting the high-end clients that you want. Well, maybe that's because your visual brand representation doesn't align with the people you're trying to attract. You know, are you going to go spend $5,000 at Walmart, or are you going to go spend $5,000 at Nordstrom's? I mean, that's a kind of an exaggeration there, but that's kind of what I'm talking about here. Like, are you setting yourself up for success? Are you representing the strong, successful coach that you want to be, or do you look like a newbie that hasn't invested into herself and her business? If you've outgrown your brand, so say you started off with something and you've hit, say you're a couple years in and you're ready for the next level, then it's time to think about rebranding. If you don't feel like your brand is authentically you. So this goes back to, say, when you started off, you saw some other brands that you really, really liked, and you pulled from those brands. You pulled some of those elements, you pulled some of those colors. Oh, awesome, Amber, I'm glad this is helping. You pulled some of those colors, you pulled some of those design elements, and it's just not a reflection of who you are. And you finally kind of figured out that space, your niche space. You figured out who you are and who you want to be as a business. And now it's time to create the brand that truly represents that and represents you. And then, of course, if you're a newbie, if you're just starting out and you've laid that foundational work down, you've done the deep digging and figuring out your mission and your vision and who you serve and why you're serving them, and you're ready to go ahead and invest into creating that business, creating that brand, then it's time to go ahead and do so.
Awesome.
Those are 7 big signs of why you should rebrand.
Absolutely. So you guys, how many of these do you relate to? I mean, I think everything that she shared is so spot on with what coaches are dealing with, you guys. And I wanted to just share with you. So I have, talked to Danielle about, helping out some of our community members and academy members. And I know we have some academy members here, and then some people that have taken programs from me in the past. And then we've got new people that are watching this. So we have something special for you. Okay. We're going to go ahead and share a link to how you can work with Danielle and really have something awesome. That opportunity that's not going to come around too many more times. So I want to let her go ahead and explain that. I'm going to share the Bitly link. I think if you guys leave and go to this link, I don't know if you'll still be able to hear us. You might. I'm not positive about that, but I'm going to go ahead and put the Bitly link. Oh, let's see. How can I? No, I need to put it in the comments, not up there. So I'm putting it in the comments. Ebony says, so Ebony's one of our mastermind members. What did she just say? She said, oops, I lost the comment. Where'd that comment go? Oh, here we go. She says that last part, definitely, I know I need to rebrand for this new. Yeah. So one of the things Ebony and I have worked on is really narrowing down her niche, and she's worked on her message. Now she's recognizing the rebrand. So the cool thing about Danielle, you guys, is like, you're not only going to work on the branding part, she's not going to just throw logos and fonts at you. She's going to make sure that you have that mission and that message and that vibe, that essence of your brand that's going to come across. And that's more than just some fancy colors and some special gold font and stuff like that. And I'm even rebranding, you guys. So, I'm one of the 7 signs. It's like you've evolved, you've grown, things are different. You're a different person now. That's also a time when you want to refresh the brand. Now, I'm not changing permission to charge. I'm just refreshing. Plus, my husband is now in the company. So, but yes, let's go ahead, and you guys have the link now. So if you want to, I think if you follow us to this link and you still have the Be Live tab open, or the group, not the Be Live, but if you still have the group open, you should be able to hear her and see what she's got to share with you. So I just went ahead and put the link there, and I'll just let you walk them through the different ways they can get your help.
Absolutely. And so one thing I do want to say is the link that Jessica just put down there, a lot of that does focus on the physical aspects of a brand. Like I have 2 packages right there for the branding blueprint. So a basic package, which will get you a lot of those visual brand elements, and then the VIP, which gets you a more full package. So you have everything you need. So when you work with your VA or you work with another designer to create a web series or whatever you're doing, you have all the elements you need. But one thing that I don't have on here is my strategy sessions. And that's something that I was talking to Jessica about earlier, is I've realized that a lot of coaches need more help on getting through and cutting through some of those foundational elements, like their messaging and who they serve and the why behind it, and creating that conversation, basically creating that conversation. So if that's something that you're struggling with, there's a link at the bottom to book a call with me. It's a 30-minute discovery call. Let's get on the phone and let's talk about how we can get your brand where it needs to be and how we can get you having that conversation with the people you want to serve. So that's not on that page, but that is something that I do offer. That's relatively new, which is why it's not on the page, because I've actually realized that people need more help with that before they even start thinking about getting into those visual elements. Because a lot of brand specialists do just focus on that, but the visibility and the foundation is super important too. And I wanted to give you guys something just because I think it's going to be really helpful, especially with that that foundational level. I have a Branding Basics workbook. And if it's okay with you, Jessica, I'd love to post a link in the comments.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay, awesome. I will post a link to that in the comments below after this so that you guys can grab it, and that'll help you take a deep dive into the why behind your business and your brand to help you figure out what you need your messaging to be or you want it to be, and who you're trying to connect with, and get really, really clear so that when you do get to the design portion of it and you do get to creating that very visible portion of your brand, you do it right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So thank you so much. I want to encourage you guys to take advantage of her special offers. Like I said, you're going to have a hard time finding the quality out there with what she's offering. And we've been offering this just to this group of people. So it's been really wonderful. Linda says, are you accepting smaller jobs? Yeah, if you go to that page, I'll let you answer the question, actually, Danielle.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I actually have a thing at the bottom where it says, like, there are a couple of smaller things. But if you're needing something, just please set up a call with me. Like, let's talk about it, because I really do want to help you guys out. Branding can get really, really expensive. And it can get really expensive. And I would love to help out, especially women in this group. I'd love to help you guys out. So just book a call with me and let's talk about it.
Yes. Awesome. All right. So you guys, make sure you grab her branding workbook that she's going to be posting later. Check out her. We're getting lots of thank yous and awesome and everything.
Yeah. I hope this helped, guys. I hope this helped you. And if you do have any questions, like PM me, send me a message. I'm really happy to help. Just reach out to me and let's talk.
So I want you guys to stay tuned for more cool stuff coming from Danielle. As I mentioned, she's really branding through video. So as you get your brand nailed down, as I mentioned, she's interviewed people from Scarlett Johansson to Mark Wahlberg. I mean, and that's just sort of like, those are two people. I know you've interviewed tons of people. And she's really just has this incredible background, you guys. So I'm so thrilled that she's part of this community to teach you how to bring your brand forth. And then as you're learning that from her, also learning the video piece. How do you show up on video and create a brand on video? I've started to really look at people's videos from a new perspective. And there's certain people where like their videos are very distinct. Their brand really shows up in their videos, and they stick in my mind now, certain coaches that I've seen online. And so I'm excited that you're going to be bringing that forth more as we have these conversations. So we'll have to bring you on again to get more into like how to bring your brand into your videos so you can, have more conversions, create more clients.
Yeah. Video is not as scary as it seems. You can actually make some really great quality videos for, with what you have. You don't have to go out and buy the hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of equipment. You can really do it with what you have, which is where a lot of people, they have that fear of, well, I have to invest in this and it's kind of scary, but really it's easy and you don't have to invest as much as you think you do. And Facebook is going towards videos. I know a lot of social platforms are also going towards videos. So it's not going to be going anywhere anytime soon.
Right.
I would jump on the bandwagon sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and if you don't have your brand nailed, it's kind of, again, running the same thing where you're like making videos and then it's like, oh, you're so great, you're so awesome. And it's like, okay, then why aren't you signing up to work with me. So we want to move this community forward, you guys. And so I thank you so much for being here, Danielle, and delivering this value and knowledge. You guys jump on that offer. It's not, I won't let her, charge that much forever, because I'm always like, hey, let's look at the value. And so there's so much more value there for you guys to get. So I want you to take advantage of it. I will put this out to my whole list and to the Facebook business page. So, grab that spot on her calendar while you can.
Yes.
And she's such a sweetheart. Like, book a conversation. This isn't like obligation. Book a conversation.
No, let's just talk. Yeah. If you're needing something, or you have questions about your brand, or you're feeling stuck, just book a call with me and let's chat. Let's see what's going on.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And thank you guys for being here. Hello to those of you coming on the replay. Thanks for watching this. And stay tuned for more. We definitely have to have you come back to talk about video. So that'll be up next. All right, you guys. So I'll see you all on Friday for 2 p.m. I'll see you on Friday for the live stream. We're going to talk about things that you should not be doing, not be focusing on in your coaching business if you actually want to make money. So we covered a few of them. We've demystified some stuff that I said last week about branding. So now you know, because last week I was like, don't focus on your website or your branding until you're clear. And so now we've given you this training to kind of bring that full circle so you really understand and can make an informed decision where to put your time and money as a business owner. Then Friday, I'll be sharing a couple more of the things that I see going on for coaches in the online coaching industry that they're doing, that they're focusing on, that they're putting time and energy and a lot of angst into, and it's just not making them money. So we're going to get into those. You definitely want to be there on Friday and hear what they are so you can stop doing them. And more live streams to come. We'll see you Friday. We'll got some more good stuff for you guys, and then we'll make sure to get Danielle back. So thank you for being here. Have a great Wednesday. We'll talk to you guys all soon. Bye. Bye. Let's wave together. Bye.